And good morning. Welcome back to Farmer King Station. Here on the morning news, we have severe weather coming in. We have freezing rain, maybe some snow, and a huge plummet in temperatures coming tonight. So, on today's episode on Farmer King, we will see as Emerson goes through and prepares the farm for wintertime. Oh, and I got a haircut, see? Also, if I look fat, I'm wearing my vest underneath this, so I'm not fat. But yes, we have some extreme weather coming in, and I know you guys always complain about how I complain that it's always too cold here in Kentucky. But tonight, it's supposed to start raining, eventually turning into snow, and the temperature is supposed to drop severely bad, like around 1 a.m. I think the windshield is going to be negative 31. So yes, it is going to be cold, like you do not go outside cold. Or that's what my parents say. I guess you guys are going to come along for the ride, because we got a little bit of winter preparations to do, or preparations for this storm, as the weather people call it. They may just be over-exaggerating. They're probably drama queens. Are you guys okay? You fell quite hard. You landed face down. So we had to get the hay bale that we got yesterday and put it in the barn. It did not get filmed because it's starting to rain and we are in a hurry, because we don't want our truck to get wet, because if it gets wet, it may not have time to dry before this evening when it starts to freeze. And then with it being like negative 31, that truck door will actually freeze and then you can't get in it. So that's why we did that. And for the ones of you that live in this area that are older than me, like back in 2007 and all that, when the ice storm came, if you know, you know. So now we got to move this tractor right here. I got that one plugged up because we're going to pull this tractor up here and push this tractor back, so that way we have family in, so they can get their car in here, so when the ice storm comes, it doesn't get iced on. And then we're also going to put our dump truck in this bay right here too. So we got to move this tractor, then we got a little bit something to do to the Pioneer real quick. So you will see that on this tire right here, it is flat. So with it just being flat on the bottom, it's just a suggestion that you should air it up. If it's flat on the top, then you should air it up. But this is just like a halfway mark for a tire being flat, but pretty much. Yeah.
Show a little picture of the barn or something?
Mm-hmm. Well,
We got something like 1911?
back for.
I think I'm gonna...
For our next little thing to do before this weather comes is this dump truck right here. We're going to be using it next week, and we'd like to have it in the shop so when it's time to get it, it ain't froze over. Don't worry about the gas pedal. You just got to just the rod. Don't look at the battery connections here. It's quite embarrassing. But we got great connection there. And we're struggling. The battery was dead, so that doesn't help anything. And then it's not one to connect, and I got to be over on that side of the motor, spray starter fluid in it. So we're just going to see how this goes. But we're going to turn this over to a engine start. Are you ready? Wait, I gotta figure out where I'm supposed to spray this at. No, you don't have to push. Yeah. It made a noise like the battery's still dead. It will just have to sit outside in the ice. Hopefully we don't have ice. I'd rather have snow. And by the way, that's my uncle. He's helping today. My dad had to go to work. So he came home. He works in the military, so he came home for the week of Christmas. So he's out helping a little bit, getting ready for this pleasant weather coming. Did you get the tarp put on?
Where do you want it to? You want it over the smokestack?
No. A little update on the Dozer, by the way. So in the last video, you guys saw we were having stupid issues with it. But anyways, so we figured out last night, we worked on it again. Could you imagine that? We worked on it, and we figured out what was wrong with it. There is like a secondary switch that delivers power to the key, and that somehow clicked out. And we never knew it. It's always been pushed in, and we didn't know what it did. Pushed it in, and now we have power to the key. So all that time wasted, it was just a switch. But then we found this one wire that didn't have power, so we went ahead and replaced it. So when we were replacing it, we had the crimpers, and we put a butt connector on, and the crimpers were on the plastic piece of the butt connector. So you electricians know what we're talking about, or farmers, because farmers do butt connectors all the time. But anyways, we were putting that on, and we're right next to the oil pressure line, which is copper, and the crimpers were on a plastic, so they weren't touching metal. And somehow it carries power from the metal in the butt connector going to the pliers, which then arced on the oil pressure line, causing it to blow a hole in the oil pressure line. As my dad would say, that is God's humor, because how could you imagine something like that happening after all this stuff? And the only reason we're putting a tarp on the Dozer is because of the oil pressure line. You're gonna get a part today while we're in town, and we may work on it over the next couple of days where it's real cold, but not that cold outside. Like, do it when it's warmer. We're covering it over so it ain't iced over when we do work on it. Or that's our thought, at least. Alright, we're gonna have a little bit of a weather update. So you can see that we now have probably an inch of snow on the ground. It's about 12 degrees outside, and it's dropping like a rock. Probably 20 degrees in the last 2 hours. And I don't know if you can see the wind, but the wind is quite aggressive, and it's whipping the snow around every place. I'm sorry, I'm blinding you off my flashlight. But it's quite aggressive and cold, and I guess in Minnesota, or Canada, as people would say, this is how snow drifts happen and all that. I don't know, we'll see in the morning. I think we're supposed to get 3 to 4 inches of snow, but that ain't the problem. It's supposed to keep snowing all night, but it's gonna get so cold that it's gonna turn to ice. Ice is a big issue, unlike snow. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Come on, microphone, get your life together. Alright, and welcome back to this lovely day of Kentucky weather. We went from about 40 degrees down to negative 16. We got like probably 2 inches of snow on the ground, and we just have been informed our well that runs water to our shop, we had a line bust and it's shooting water everywhere in the well, and that is county water too. This wind is hurting my face, but I can't wear this thing over my face because I need to be able to talk to the camera. And I don't know how much you guys are going to get to see because the GoPro batteries are about to have a real test on them.
Anybody else know where the other shut-off valve is? Oh, there's another pipe.
So there's probably going to be a lot of wind noise in this section of the video, but I can't help it. We weren't planning on being outside today, to be honest. But here it is, and this is a once in a every 10-year type of deal thing that happens where we're at. Bark, bark. Ah! Well, I'm glad the snow's like 2 feet deep right here. But you guys know what this well is. You've been down here before. I believe in you. You got this.
Times have we climbed down in this?
Pull that pump out. And usually you'd pull this thing off, there'd be a snake sitting right there.
Better than it was. Hopefully it doesn't leak.
So, after this weather passes on and it warms up, we plan on digging outside, on the outside of this wall with the backhoe. And this is what I'd say is probably schedule 20 or 10 line.
Well, we got 40 in here, but the stuff, which that line was run back in the 70s. And maybe that was schedule 40 then. I don't think they changed schedules. But that stuff looks like almost schedule 10 that they put down. It's super, super thin. But we're not going to replace all that, but we have to get down in here to turn this off. And we don't have a shut off from the house. We don't have a shut off from the house to here. So we had to shut all the water off. So, you know, you would think that in the 50 years it's been here, we would have thought to put a shut off valve in there, but we are now. That way, when this happens again, we don't have to worry about it. We don't have animals up here anymore, so we don't have to have the water on in the winter. But anyway, we'll see if this works.
Alright, maybe we got it this time. The last 2 times I've tried to film this outro, it's been on time-lapse mode, so it hasn't recorded us at all. But this is the worst weather I have ever experienced in my life that I can remember. But back, what would you say, when I was born, the ice storm came?
I think you were 3 years old. And that was, as far as the worst, that's the worst weather. It hadn't been this cold in a long time. I remember when I was a kid, probably younger than you, when we used to have hogs in this building, something happened and the water froze. And so the building over there where that grain bin is, we had a faucet over there. And for some reason the water, the faucet right here was frozen. And so we had to pack water in 5-gallon buckets from over there to over here. And I remember it freezing on my snowsuit, just walking back and forth. It was so cold. So that was, I'm going to say that was probably maybe 89, early 90s, because that was the last time they said it got this cold here. But I do remember that happening, it freezing and my snowsuit being stiff. But that was this. It's been down in the single digits and close to 0, but we hadn't had any negative temperatures for a while. This has been the coldest it's been in a long time.
I was 3 months old in the ice storm. You said 3 years.
Yeah, ice storm hit in 2010.
I thought it was 2007.
No, 2009 or 2010 the ice storm hit.
Oh, I thought it was 2007.
I think it was Alex that was 3 years old.
But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, faith, family, farm. See you in the next one.